This is unfortunately the logical conclusion of a form of left-wing thought known as post-colonial theory. In post-colonial theory, they critique the way that we have constructed history and teach about history because it's from a Western perspective or the colonizer's perspective. And they want to reframe it in a non-Western or from the colonized perspective. But the problem with this comes when we get to certain topics such as the Holocaust and the recent videos that we have and the controversy between one creator and also Yuval's critique of that creator. And we have this idea that Israel paying for teaching about the Holocaust is the only reason we know about it more than, say, King Leopold here. And here's the thing, read this book. You need to learn about it too. But I want you to take a look at this video real quick.
But yes, there is a lot of financial investment in the United States from all sorts of parties to ensure that the Holocaust is the #1 human rights violation that every American kid learns about.
What I want you to pay attention to here is what she's trying to do is get you to question why you're taught about the Holocaust and why you're taught about the Holocaust being so horrific. And the idea here is that maybe there's some shady business practices going on in the background. She doesn't specifically say Israel or the Jews are doing it, but she wants you to think that it's not based on the fact that the Holocaust is so incredibly well documented and that the unaliving toll was so incredibly high and how it impacted the world in the 20th century more than any other single event, being World War II, that is. And that's the thing. This is how we intellectualize Holocaust denial. And it's not just her. There's been tons of videos doing this, and they're attacking Yuval as if he's some sort of racist attacking people of color for even pointing out that this is just an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory and Holocaust revisionism. And it's just not.
You should question why some mass death events are privileged over others.
The problem with this is that you're not questioning why we're not taught certain tragedies, such as King Leopold and what he did in the Congo, but you're rather intentionally trying to downplay what happened in the Holocaust in World War II. And that's the thing, is you don't have to do that to talk about these other tragedies. I mean, here's the thing. We can just bring up whether it is colonization of the Americas, colonization of Africa and India, the transatlantic slave trade, the Arab slave trade, even the way right-wingers do it with the atrocities under the Stalinist and Maoist regimes under communism. I mean, this is the thing, and this is the problem with the way you guys are framing this. And you actually share far more in common with far right-wingers than you do actual critical thinking liberals and leftists, because the entire basis of this is to get people to think of the Yahtzees not as evil as they were, and H-Man is not uniquely evil compared to, say, Stalin and Mao if you're a far right-winger. But for you guys, it's the American Southern plantation owner, King Leopold, Christopher Columbus, etc., etc. But this is the thing. At the end of the day, the Holocaust is unique in history, and it's unique for one reason primarily. It is the first and only time we have seen a modern, industrialized effort to exterminate a race of people. This has not happened in any other mass genocide or anything else. In fact, like most of the other examples of similar numbers of people being unalived usually happen through famine, disease, or other things like that, or they happened over an extended period of time. The Holocaust happened within about 12 years. It was the biggest and most industrialized effort, and unlike colonization, slavery, and even communism, they weren't doing this mass unaliving to justify building the material gains they were getting it. The entire point of the Holocaust was exactly that, to exterminate the Jewish race. And not just the Jews, and this is another thing. A lot of y'all seem to do this as we teach about the Holocaust because it happened to white Europeans. Not that Jews were considered white, by the way, but it didn't just happen to white Europeans. The Romani people are definitely not considered white, and they were huge victims of the Holocaust. And the only reason more black people weren't victims of the Holocaust is because they didn't live in Europe proper. Not to mention the racial hatred of the Slavic people by Nazi Germany. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, American schools do not teach about everything equally, and they simply can't teach about everything equally. I think we need to teach a lot more about a lot of things. I've mentioned in the past, we need to learn more about the Pacific Theater in World War II. For some reason, we're not taught about that. People do not know about the Nanking Massacre, for example. Or, but the reality of it is American schools are probably actually taught about American chattel slavery more than they're taught about the Holocaust. We're probably not taught as much about King Leopold in the Congo, but we probably should be taught more about this. But you can do this without downplaying the horrors of the Holocaust. And if you're going to bring this up and then claim you're not the one comparing horrors and atrocities, you're lying. You're comparing them. And if you're going to compare them, you have to be open to people pointing out why you're wrong.